Designing your Cobb house. Designing a home is an art and a science in itself. It encompasses a wide variety of subjects and takes into account many different variables. Designing a home is a skill that anyone can learn and understand. However, depending on the complexity of the building design, outside experts may need to be involved, such as architects or engineers. It's very important to develop a vision for your home and to have a solid design before beginning any construction. Starting construction on a home without having everything planned out in a detailed design in advance will lead to a myriad of problems. Possibilities and limitations. There are many misconceptions and fanciful ideas floating around about Cobb homes. One of them is that a Cobb home must look a certain way and must adhere to a certain ideology of construction. People like to define Cobb homes in many different ways. Here I will define a Cobb building in the most practical and logical way. A Cobb building is any building that has walls made of Cobb material. I'll explain this definition a bit further now. For example, a Cobb building is not defined by the style of its foundation or the style of its roof. We tend to define buildings by the type of wall systems that they have. A Cobb building does not need to have a stone foundation and a circular living roof for it to be called a Cobb house. A Cobb house can have literally any style of foundation, roof, and other components and be defined as a Cobb house. As long as the majority of its walls are made with Cobb, then it's a Cobb house. Something that I always tell my students is that a Cobb building is just the same as any other type of building, except that instead of wood frame walls, for example, we're replacing them with Cobb walls. Almost every other component of that building stays the same, whether we're building a Cobb house or a conventional stick frame house. The main difference is how all of the components integrate with a Cobb wall system. In this book, I'll teach you how everything connects and integrates with Cobb walls. I also hope to dispel any misconceptions about what a Cobb house really is and give you a realistic and practical perspective that will actually help you build a modern, long-lasting Cobb home. Now that we have put some things into perspective, I'll summarize the possibilities and limitations for Cobb buildings. If anything, there can be some height limitations for Cobb structures. Most do not go above 2 or 3 stories tall. Overall, the possibilities are endless for the design and style of Cobb buildings. Building components. In this section, we'll describe the main building components as they pertain to Cobb buildings. Foundation. The foundation is one of the most critical components to a building. This is the solid base upon which a building sits. The entire building depends on the strength and support of the foundation to stand. A building foundation can be constructed in many different ways with many different materials. Foundations are generally made with either stone or concrete, the latter being used in most cases today. Windows and doors. Windows and doorways are obvious components to almost any building. They serve the general purpose of letting light into the building, fresh airflow, and providing passageways into and out from the structure. Walls. The walls make up a major part of any building. Walls can be made from a wide variety of materials. In this book, we're concerned with earthen wall materials. Within this component, there can also be additional components, such as metal reinforcing. Codes have wall reinforcement requirements depending on seismic zones and wind zones. Bond beam. The bond beam is a concrete, horizontal, structural component that stretches along the top perimeter of the wall system. A bond beam braces the walls together and can help prevent shifting and seismic activity. The bond beam also serves as a good attachment point for roof materials. Roofing. The roof is a critical component that covers the top of a building and protects the structure and its inhabitants from the environment. A good roof is very important for earthen building systems because they direct rainfall away from the walls. A roof can be made with several conventional materials, such as wood or metal. Roof finishes can also be done in several different materials, such as shingles, tiles, or metal sheeting. Electrical and plumbing. To access water and electricity within the building requires a series of electrical and plumbing systems. These components carry water and electricity from the source and distribute them through the building to any desired points of use. If you enjoyed this information, click the links in the description below to go to my website, thiscobbhouse.com. You can download my free ebook, sign up for one of my video courses on how to build a Cobb house, step by step from foundation all the way up to roof. You can also sign up for a hands-on workshop with me in person to learn how to build a Cobb house. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you in the next video.